welcome back today, everybody. This is Tucker again. What I really wanted to do was kind of introduce you to Tucker like I did last time. I believe it was his 4th day of groundwork. I've now had Tucker for 3 weeks, so he's got 3 weeks worth of groundwork. I did about 7 days in a row to start out with, and then I've been doing groundwork and riding him ever since. So today is his 9th ride, and what I wanted to do is kind of show you milestones in his career. So, 4th day that I had him, 9th ride. The reason why today's a milestone is because this is the last day that I'm going to ride him in a hackamore. I love starting my 2-year-olds in a hackamore. I think it really helps them along a lot quicker and a lot easier than putting them in a bit straight away. But what I wanted to show you was, where I want them before I would transition from a hackamore to the snaffle bit. So he's at that stage right now. He's doing very well. I'm impressed with him. So today is going to be his last day in the hackamore, and then I'm going to switch to the snaffle bit. So first off, what I really want to focus on and get across to you is, if you don't have control of your horse's body, then they're not ready to go into the bit whatsoever. Get control of their body, get it on the ground, then get it under saddle. So this is his 9th ride. I should be able to control my horse from his nose to his tail relatively easily. Now, he's not going to be pretty. I mean, it's not going to be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but he has a general understanding of what I'm asking him to do. So to start off with, I want to be able to just have general control of his head and neck. I should be able to flex this horse from left to right and have him understand to give to pressure off of that hackamore. When I slide my hand down and give a little bit of pressure, he says, okay, I understand to get off of that pressure rather than be resistant and pull against it. So flexing my horse back and forth is something that I do a lot of, to teach them to give to that pressure, to be soft, to be supple. So what I do is I slide my hand down gently and I pick up. Now if he leans on it or doesn't come enough, then I'll just add a little bumping sensation to get him off of that. And as soon as he gets off of that, I'll release a bump, bump, bump if he's stiff. There we go. So I should be able to have a general control of my horse's head and neck. Now, I also need to control his body. So basically the reins are from the shoulders forward, my legs control the shoulders back. So I need to be able to control his shoulders, rib cage, and hip just as well as the head and neck. So the first thing that I like to teach them is to yield that hindquarters. If I bend that head around and put my leg back, he should be able to say, okay, I understand. I'll go ahead and bend my hindquarters. So good, I took my leg off and he stopped within a couple steps. I'll show you again. Now it's very important that he knows the difference between the reins and my legs. I flex him independently of putting my leg back, so he understands that when I flex, that doesn't mean yield, but when I press with my leg, that means yield his hindquarters. So I'm pressing, 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 and now I'll take off my leg, and within a few steps, there we go, he should stop. Now every day, he's just going to get better with that. He's going to get lighter off of my leg, and he's also going to stop sooner. This is just a real early stage about what I should be getting after 9 or so rides. So he's a little bit lazy. There, he picked it up a little. I'll take my leg off. And again, within a few steps, he stopped. So that's about the first thing that I teach him, yield that hindquarters, get control of that back end and the power. Now, I should also be able to control the rib cage. So I'm going to walk him forward here. I'm going to bend his head to the inside and then press up my inside leg in his rib cage. Now, he should say, okay, that leg in the middle of my rib, it doesn't mean yield that hip because it's in a different place, but what it does mean is I'd like to be soft and press my ribs to the outside. I want my horse to go around with their nose to the inside, but their ribs to the outside, and be able to get a good shape of my horse like this. This is going to create balance. Good boy. I should be able to bend them to the right, bend them to the left. Tucker's getting softer every day. The way that you get a horse truly soft is through their body. Get them soft through the body, and the head and neck take care of themselves. I love how he's kind of keeping his nose there. Every now and again, I have to remind him to just pull a little bit. For the most part, he's keeping himself really soft right there, and I really like that. So that's the basic understanding of how to bend my rib cage. Now, he should also have an understanding, just a real basic one, of how to move. I'll go ahead and ask him to stop it back here. Good boy. Of how to move his shoulders independently of the rest of his body. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and ask him to bend his ribs, just like I did. My inside leg is on, pressing his shoulders or his rib cage to the right. Now I'll take that inside leg off and I'll press with my right leg up by his girth and get him to just step around with that front end right there. My left leg is open, I'm exaggerating that. My right leg is on. I shut the door and I open the door. So again, I'll get him going to the left. Inside leg is on. Take that inside leg off, press with that right leg. He's kind of thinking, there. A couple good steps. So that's the basic understanding of control over their body. So with this control over his body, what I figure now is I can move his body with my legs. He's getting relatively soft. At this point is a great time to go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead and take this hackamore off and transition to the snaffle bit. With the snaffle bit, I'm going to be able to get a lot more softness and collection through my horse. Now, the hackamore is great to start out with, and you can use a hackamore for the rest of your life. It wouldn't bother me any. I like to go transition to the bit because I do get a lot more softness and suppleness out of them. It's a lot more refined, just because the mouth is a more sensitive part of the horse's body than the nose. So he's at a great point to be able to do that. Also, a couple other requirements is he should understand the one-rein stop. So if we're walking forward, I sit deep in my seat. Now he's stopping. It's his 9th ride. He's been stopping for a few rides now. They don't have to stop for me to say, okay, it's time to ride in a bit. But what they do have to do is as soon as I slide my hand down that rein, he should soften to that. He shouldn't throw his head up in the air. So if I just grab the rein, see how he just immediately softened to that? Now if he's still throwing his head up in the air and being resistant, he's not quite ready to go into that snaffle bit. So he should be able to do that at all gaits. I'll go ahead and ask him to trot you. In general, I'd let him go a little further, but for the camera's purposes, I'll just ride around here. So I'll always sit first. I'm going to sit back, take my legs off. He says, okay, I think that means stop because we've done 100 of these one-rein stops, pretty much 100 a day. So he's understanding that relatively nicely. So now that's basically just the bare bones requirements of what I'd like to see my horse doing before I put a snaffle bit in. Now that he is going to have a snaffle bit starting tomorrow, I'm going to be asking, rather than bidding him around just real minimally, I'm going to get a little bit more bit out of this every day and get him to soften up to that. Also, we started learning a few things yesterday. I should be able to kind of pick up on him and just press straight away and get a little side pass out of him right there. I'll come towards you and do it. I'll press with my right leg. He's thinking. That's not quite enough, so I'm going to press with my spur. There. He should understand how to get off of that leg, and as we get that snaffle bit in and get him a little more further along, he'll be able to do it with a lot more softness and collection as well. So now I can do that while going forward and get a little bit of a two-track. Press him with my left leg. There, get him going forward off of that. Very good. I'll kind of ride him away here so you can see from the other end. Get him going straight. I'll press with my right leg. Get a little two-track. Keep going forward and to the side. Very, very good. Good boy. Stop him. Use my legs to drive him backward. See, I'm not really pulling him. If I were to get into a pulling match trying to get him backwards, he'd just get stiff and resistant. What I do is I create a little block and I use my body language to ask him to come back off of that. So if we're only doing that for a couple days, he's doing really nice off of that. I'd like to go ahead and drive him up forward. Say go forward, sit down, ask him to take a couple steps back. Good boy. So again, that's pretty much bare bones. If a horse can't do these things, at least a horse that's just brand new and's never had a bit in their mouth, if they can't do these things, I'm not going to be asking them to go ahead and throw a bit in there and get real refined. They need a foundation. So that's what I try to do. I get the groundwork at a decent level, I get them respectful and confident, and then when I start riding, it's day one. We're getting to work and we're getting their body moving and we're getting them soft and supple. So I hope you can kind of get some ideas off of this. Like I said, I'd really like to get some milestones. So maybe once he's had a bit in his mouth for a little bit and starts to refine his techniques, I'll show you the next step after that and where to advance him from there. But like I said, I'm real happy with this horse. He's coming along right where I expect him to be. I expect him to be about this much after 9 rides. So I hope you guys can get and take that information and kind of get some ideas out of that, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys.